Good morning. Welcome in, everyone. All right. We're going to get started. So my name is Sarah Harvey. I am a double gold consultant with Team Powerhouse. I'm also a travel agent, a mentor trainer, and I'm also a certified tax preparer. I have been filing taxes for the past 10 years. I do have experience, especially with small businesses. So I know it can be really intimidating when it comes to tax time when having a small business. So I just want to let everyone know that I am here if you have any questions, because I don't want anyone to feel overwhelmed when it does come time to file your taxes. So my goal today is to help you understand how taxes work as a travel agent, what you can claim, what you cannot claim, and how to maximize your deductions legally so that you can keep more of the money that you earn. So let's go ahead and get started. Also, a little welcome and disclaimer. I have to say that it is for educational purposes only. This is not legal advice. It's just a way to help, and always consult your tax professional for personal filings if you have one or if you need to reach out to me as well. So understanding your business structure. As a travel agent with Archer and Evolution, we are independent contractors. What that means is we are self-employed. So instead of receiving a W-2 like you would at a traditional job, we do receive a 1099. If you earn $600 or more, you will receive that 1099. For travel agents, both who book travel and mentor agents, you typically receive two different 1099 forms, one from Evolution and one from Archer. That is two different sides of the business, so you would receive both of them. Even if you do not receive a 1099, it is still legally required for you to report your income. So if you just started and you didn't receive any income yet, you could still deduct those or the deductions. You could still claim those. So we'll go ahead and go over them. So what are the forms that need to be filed? Your first form is the Form 1099. And like I said, even if you don't receive a 1099, you're still required to report the income. Your second form is a Schedule C that is going to go over your profit or your loss from your business. So any deductions that you file will go in the Schedule C, or that's where you itemize everything. And then a Schedule SE is your self-employment tax. So think of it as Schedule C equals the income minus your expenses. You only pay taxes on the net profit. So you don't pay taxes on the gross income. If you reduce profit legally, you reduce your taxes. All right, so some things that you can deduct as a travel agent. So you think anything that's ordinary, any necessary things that you need for your business, and anything directly related to your business. So here is a list. This is just the basics. Honestly, there's so many, but your host agency fees, so whether it be the 49 or 89 a month that you're paying, you can deduct those. Your business startup costs, if you decided to do a website, any type of like an email domain, anything like that to start up your business, you can deduct all of them. Website fees, marketing and advertising, business cards and flyers, if you pay for Canva or any other marketing software, Zoom, if you pay for your Zoom, travel software, for instance, Travelify or anything like that. Office supplies, printer, ink, your computers, a laptop, if any type of office expense, even when it comes to a desk, anything at all that you need to help your business, you can deduct all of them. Any meals, for instance, if you go out to lunch with your BDM, for instance, or your client, you can deduct those. Internet, so you can deduct your business portion of your internet and your cell phone or landline, like I said, laptops, tablets, any CRM systems that you use, which if you're a new agent, you probably won't mess with them in the beginning. Any merchant processing fees. So for instance, if you use Square for your instant income, you can deduct those processing fees as well. So travel specific deductions. If you travel primarily for business, that is deductible. If it's for personal vacation, it's not deductible. But if you attend, for instance, if you attend convention and 3 of those days is convention and 2 of the days is vacation, you can still deduct the business portion. Also, if there's so many times it comes up saying that they went on vacation, but they didn't do any site visits or anything like that, you could still deduct it if you are sharing photos to gain clients for your business. That is still considered business deduction. So you can claim all of them. So your fam trips, if you go on any fam trips, you can deduct site inspections, business related travel, conferences, your CLIA membership. That's another good deduction that a lot of people forget. Travel conventions, so your convention ticket, your flight, your hotel stay, if it's business related, your airfare for the business travel, baggage fees, vendor events. So if you go to a vendor event or a bridal show, for instance, and they charge a fee, you can deduct those as well. Any of the materials, which most of them we do give for free, but if you want to print out your own flyers, you can deduct all of that, anything that you purchase for the vendor events. And also any miles that you drive to and from these places. You can deduct any tolls that you may inquire and gas. You can also deduct that as well. There's also many, many more, but these are the basics. And then if you are team building or if you decide that you're going to team build, you can also deduct those, and those expenses are tied into that income stream. So any of the team building is going to be with your 1099 from Evolution. If you get a 1099 from Archer, that's going to be all your travel and all of those expenses and marketing and everything. If you are team building, the recruiting ads, if you pay for any Facebook ads, job postings, if you're paying for a job board, training materials, any type of materials that you use for training, for instance, Zoom, a Canva again. Giveaway prizes. So if you do a giveaway for your agents, this is could also be for the travel side as well, because if you do a giveaway, you can claim those deductions. Any incentives. So if you're paying for a voucher system, you can do that as well. If you purchase prizes to do a giveaway, for instance, like the key tags or, I mean, the luggage tags or anything with your logo on it, you can deduct all of those. If you pay for team shirts, or even if you pay for shirts that have made that have your logo on it, you can also do them. Business coaching is another one, any CRM tools that you may use, and any email platforms. So any business email, or if you purchase a domain for both team building side or for the travel side, you can also deduct those. And again, like I said, there's so many more, but the basics. And then some things you cannot deduct. Personal vacations, of course. Personal clothing. That's one that I didn't add to the list, is clothing. You can deduct any clothing purchase for traveling if you are using that travel for your business. So any clothing that you purchase for convention, for instance, you can use those deductions as well. That was an important one because a lot of people don't think about that. Everyday meals, you cannot. Family travel, unless it's business related. Any fines or penalties, they're not deductible. And personal groceries, of course. I have had some people think that they can, but so I just wanted to add that. Okay, so some home office deductions. Think of, so any dedicated space that you use in your home, you can deduct. So for instance, if you have a 1,200 square home and you use 50 square feet of your home, you can deduct that square footage in your return. It does add up. A lot of agents and small businesses do not realize how much this stuff does add up. All of these deductions really, really do. It could take you from owing thousands to getting back thousands, to be honest. I've seen it many and many a times once I go in and add everything. Used regularly and exclusively. So you want to make it has to be the part of your home that you use regularly for your office space. And then simplified method or actual expense methods that can be broken down if it's just part of the time. So if you use it for 3 days a week, that would be the simplified portion of what you can deduct. If it's an actual method of expense, but your tax preparer can definitely help you decide which one that is as well. So, oh, one more thing I wanted to go over, I'm sorry. For home office deductions, this will also include any utilities. So your utilities could be claimed here as well. Any utilities, even electric, you can put on here. Anything that you need to run your home office. So mileage and vehicle, this is a huge one as well, where it can definitely add up. So any mileage to networking events, any business meetings that you may have, if you meet with your BDM or your clients, you can deduct all those mileages. Post office, so if you have postage going out, if anyone won prizes, or if you're sending your client a gift after they return, you can claim all of those expenses and any bank expenses, anything that like if you get certain fees, for instance, for processing fees, or if you have a business account and they charge a fee for your business account, you can deduct them as well under this. And then your standard mileage rate you want to keep track of. That's very important. And if you have any work done on your vehicle, so if you have to go get tires or if any type of maintenance you need done, you can deduct that as well if you're using your vehicle mainly for your business. If you have two vehicles, it helps a lot because they can see that you have a personal vehicle. And then also, if you get the main part is okay, for instance, my car right now is getting wrapped, actually, as we speak, and Sandals is paying for that. So now my monthly payment is now going to be deductible because it's a business vehicle considered. So anything to do with my vehicle now will be a deduction, and which is going to be really helpful. You can print out a magnet to have put on your car with your business information, which is very, very helpful with gaining clients. But if you do that, you pay $20 for a huge magnet with your business name and number or any information you would like on there, and you can consider your whole vehicle a deduction. So that's just a good tip right there. And then also important, commuting to a regular job does not count unless it's a W-2, and that's a whole nother situation. But on our deductions, commuting to a regular job wouldn't be included with this. And then some good ways to keep track of these expenses of the mileage and everything. Mile IQ is awesome. Of course, QuickBooks, and there's also your notebook log. So you can print out a mileage log they have. You can Google it, a mileage log, and you can print it out and just keep track of your mileage. Or honestly, some people guesstimate, but something that you can provide to the IRS in case they want to look at that. So you just don't want to go overboard and say you want to claim 50,000 miles. So then they're going to start looking. But so what if you didn't earn enough 1099? So like I said, we receive a 1099 after you earn $600 in commission. So for instance, if you started in October of last year, you can still claim all the deductions. You can still claim that a business loss. So that is going to help you. You go in and you file your W-2, what your tax preparer will do, which this is why I highly suggest using a tax preparer, just because doing it yourself, you're not gonna get back the maximum, to be honest, just because there's so many things involved with it. So if you had legitimate business intent, so marketing, training, setup costs, host fees, you could still file a Schedule C. That may create a loss. So that's when you want to go in and offset it with your W-2 income and with all of your deductions. For instance, if I just started in October and I only got a few instant income from using Evo Plus, if I go in, I can still claim my monthly cost, and I can still claim, like if I purchased Canva, any marketing, I can still go in and use those as a deduction. So even if you didn't receive a 1099, a lot of agents feel like they can't claim any of this because they didn't receive a 1099 yet, but that's not true. A lot of agents even only make money using Evo Plus. That is their go-to. So they get their instant income. So they can still file and still get all of their deductions back. I just wanted to let you guys know that because I get that question all the time. And it's important to know that you must be operating as a real business and not a hobby. So if the IRS were to ever go back and, they pop up all the time. They don't pick and choose. It'll pop up saying that it's time, your time to audit. So you just want to make sure you do have all of the documentation for it, just in case it ever does happen. Because it does, but so hobby versus business rule. So the IRS looks at your profit intent, your marketing efforts. So if you're marketing consistently on Facebook, for instance, that shows right there that you're actually doing this as a business. A separate bank account definitely would help. It's not necessary, like you don't have to have one, but it definitely does help keep your business expenses separate. So I do suggest it once you start earning money and once you start, if you get any type of monthly payments that you have to put out, I definitely do suggest trying to set up a separate one. And it's easy to do. Usually you won't have any fees for that if you have an EIN number, which you can go to irs.gov and get an EIN for free. And you can use your EIN for your business account. So that way they don't add fees on your account. You definitely want to do that. And then the time that they do look at the time invested in you marketing, and they just want to make sure it is a real legit business that you have and not just trying to get deductions. And a business plan, of course, would always be great, but since we're under Archer and Evolution, they already have the business plan set up for us. So how to track expenses properly. This is the most important part, which it happens to all of us. We wait until the end of the year and we're like, oh no, where do I start? And please, please do not let that happen this year because it saves so much time and anxiety and so much more if you keep track of it starting January. So I definitely recommend to always keep track of your expenses. I know we say busy, very busy, so it is hard at times, but you definitely want to start doing that like today. You want to keep, like I said, you can keep a separate bank account so that way that helps with tracking. But if you do not have that, it's okay. You can have a business debit card. You want to always save receipts. I have a receipt log. It was a free thing I downloaded. And I save all my receipts there for deductions, and it helps keep everything separate. Digital storage, so Google Drive is perfect for that. Keep a folder and any transaction you make, or even with your monthly cost, you can take a screenshot and add that into your folder, or just always keep a separate folder for all your deductions. An expense tracker spreadsheet, which I do have for you guys, I'm going to share. That is very helpful because it'll help you keep everything separate. And then QuickBooks for the self-employed, that's another option. There is a cost for that. So if you're able to do it, by all means, but if not, then just the expense tracker spreadsheet will work just fine. Because at the end of the year, it helps a lot, believe me. And then categories to track. So in your spread, if you use a spreadsheet, you can set up different categories so that way it's easier for you at the end of the year or for your tax preparer. So these are the ones that I use. My advertising, so I'll put all my advertising under one category, all my travel related expenses under another, any education expenses. So if you're in school, or if you're like with CLIA, they have a bunch of different certifications and a bunch of different classes you can take. You can claim all of them as well. And so you can do that in a separate area. Any subscriptions that you pay. So for instance, Canva, Zoom, anything like that. your office supplies, so that way you know exactly where to go if you purchase any type of office supplies at all. Even if it comes down to paper, pens, all of that definitely adds up. You may not realize it, but it definitely does. Your host fees, like I said, your monthly fees, you want to keep track of those. Any software that you may purchase, if you do purchase any, that's just an extra one that you can throw in there. Your internet and phone bill, you can categorize that. And any meals, so any business related meals, like I said. Once you guys, most of you, I mean, a couple of you are newer, but once you really step into the business, you'll be able to meet with your BDMs. I meet with quite a few of our BDMs recently and had lunch, so you can deduct all of them. Or if you go and meet with a client, you can put all those expenses in there, and it makes it easy to get to. Self-employment tax. There is income tax. So self-employment tax, what it is, there's income tax, which is that's what the government takes, that's then there's your self-employment tax. That is goes towards Social Security and Medicare. So what it is you want to put aside 25 to 30% of your net profit. So any net profit that you make, if you're worried to at the end of the year that you're going to owe, is when this comes into place. So you want to keep about 20 to 30% to the side so that way you can have that available when it comes to tax time if you end up owing. Recently, I haven't had many people that have been owing just because all of their deductions honestly weighs it out. But there are a lot that they're a lot more intense and have a lot more things going on. So that's when you want to make sure you try to keep that to the side. So if you think you're going to owe, then I definitely suggest setting aside that 25 to 30%. And then if your business grows, you may eventually make quarterly payments. So instead of having to pay all at once, you can break it down into quarterly. So say you end up owing $2,000, then you can pay 500 quarterly. So that is a whole nother subject. So as business owners, we also pay the self-employment taxes, and then this covers the Social Security and Medicare. And then so some common mistakes make not tracking expenses. Like I said, I get this all the time, and I admit that I did not do it in the first year, and I was a mess at the end of the year. And I knew better, though. I knew better, and I still ignored it. So it's a mess. Mixing your personal and business funds. Like if you're able to, I highly do recommend once you start getting your commissions and everything, try to set up a business account just so that way it's so helpful. Ignoring small deductions, like I said, all of those pens and papers and markers, all of that stuff adds up tremendously. It really does. So I do not ignore any type of deduction at all. Forgetting your mileage, again, that's another thing that could add up a whole lot and help you get money back instead of owing. Not reporting your 1099 income, you always want to make sure you do report. A lot of small businesses don't think that they have to report their 1099, but the IRS will come after you eventually once they find out, and they always do. So you might as well just get it over with and report it. And then assuming that no 1099 is no taxes that you don't have to file, which you do, you really should, but that's mainly if you are already filing and have a W-2 along with your business. So if this isn't your full-time business and you work for a corporation or if you get a W-2 from another job, that is when this comes into play because they'll eventually see that you're getting money from somewhere. They could, I'm not saying they definitely will, but they could see that. So you always try to want to make sure you do file the right way. And then some things, if you're a mentor and you book travel, like I said, you will receive a 1099 from Archer and a 1099 from Evolution. So you can combine them together and come up with a sum from both. Or you can, if you feel better doing them separate, you can do them separate so you can claim each Schedule C and then keep your expenses separate if you would like to do it that way. So you can do it either way. And then some tips and tricks. Treat it like a real business. There's some agents that use this for personal reasons, for personal discounts, and that's completely fine. But for the ones that are actually trying to build a business, just treat it like a real business. So any job that you go to, they're gonna always keep track of all of this. So you want to make sure you do the same. Track your monthly. Like I said, that's very, very important to track it. Ask questions early. So don't wait till last minute and be frantic because you're not sure what to do. So, and like I said, I promise I'm here if you need any questions at all. Recently, I've had quite a few things going on. My grandmother was in the hospital and a bunch of other stuff. But other than that, I tried to be here for everyone. Even if you're not, if I'm not your mentor, I'm still here for everyone. Don't fear taxes. It's not as bad as it seems. And use deductions legally. So don't try to add on a bunch of things that's not true. Just try to use them legally. So, how to access your 1099 documents. If you want to do this along with me really quick, if you did earn over $600 and you haven't gotten your 1099, this is how you would do it. So, you would log into your work market account. Then you would go to settings. So it's up in the right, I think it's the right corner. It's the photo of you or the clear gray photo, circle photo. You'll click on your profile and then you'll select settings. And then you can go to view tax documents. It's on the left hand side menu, click tax documents, and then your 1099s will be located right there. It's very easy to get to. We don't have to wait for 1099s anymore, which is awesome. That's why I love that we switched to ADP. It's so much better. Like I said, if you are issued, you'll be issued a 1099 if you earn over 600 or more in travel commissions. And then Evolution, you will be issued a separate one if you withdrew over $600 from your e-wallet because we're paid different with the team building side. So you may receive one or both 1099s depending on your activity. And I will get to questions if anyone has questions. I'll get to them too, okay, guys? I just want to let you know. I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm sorry. Here are some cheat sheets I'm going to share with you guys. This is a travel agent tax checklist. It just goes over pretty much what we went through, some ideas of things that you can claim, different deductions you can claim, pretty much everything we went over. I just wanted to share this with you just in case you missed anything. Also, expense tracking categories, so some ideas on different categories you can do. Also, ChatGPT is very, very helpful with this. You can type in exactly what you're looking for. My best friend, he helps me with that as well, with my expenses. I'm going to share this one with you as well. So this is going to be your expense. It's an expense tracker. So you'll be able to edit it yourself. I have the date, the vendor that was used. So even if it was Walmart or if it was Verizon, whatever it may be, the category. So this is where I said you can categorize expense it is. So supplies or meals or equipment, the description, so you can put in a little description of what it was, the payment method that you used. If you're using your business account, you can just always put business account. Business purposes, this isn't necessary. None of this is necessary, but it just helps when you give this to the IRS so that way they can look at it and see that what you're doing. It definitely does help. So your business purpose, if it's for office supplies restock, the meals, client meeting, anything like that, the amount, and was the receipt saved. If you didn't get a receipt, it's okay. Just put no. So this is another one I'm going to share with you guys. And then this one is your expense tracker. So this is your income tracker. So this is your date, the date. This is good for when you use Evo Plus or you do charge research fees. So that way you can keep track of all of your income. I have the category. well, this is just a sample one for you guys, but the source. So, for instance, Archer, if it was through Evo Plus, if it was just research fees, if you're team building, Evo Team Build, the description. So that's where you can list just a little description. So, Carnival, Cancun Resort, flights. This was January residuals, so, and then the income type, commission, instant income, residuals, commission, and then the amount. So this is just an example I wanted to show you guys of how you can keep track. I know a lot of agents have been asking me recently for an example of a spreadsheet to keep track of the expenses. So Q&A, I'm going to go ahead and post all of them in the chat for the tools I just showed you guys. But again, I'm here to help you with your tax needs and anything else as well. So any questions? You can unmute yourself or type it in the chat. Either way, let me look through these past ones. Sorry. Can we deduct the first fee we did when we signed up or no? Yes, absolutely, Deborah. You can deduct all of your fees. So your monthly fee, you can deduct. Even the $2.99, you can deduct that as well. Yep. Can we deduct a portion of our, can we deduct our portion of a family trip and the main reason content? Yes, yes, absolutely. Yep. If you are taking pictures to post on your business page, showing the hotel or showing how much fun you guys are having and using that as a way to gain clients, yep, that's definitely a deduction. Yep. And then, like I said, the flights, the hotel, the baggage fees, you want to keep track of all of that because you're able to do all that. But if you go and you're not, they just want to see that you're using it for business purposes. And can you show an actual form like we would fill out where you put those deductions? Brittany, is that the one that I showed, or did you? I'm not sure which one you mean. I'm going to share the forms with you guys too. Can we deduct account costs if we hire one? Accountant costs for if you hire a tax preparer? Yes, you can deduct that. What it is you can, any fees that were related to your filings next year, you'll be able to use, so for instance, if it costs $500 for your filing fee, you can deduct that. A lot of people don't know that, so I'm glad you pointed that out. Yes, you can.
Sarah, quick
Yeah.
question. Because I'm driving, so I can't type into the chat.
Oh, no, feel free. Hi.
Can you email me all those stuff that you shared in the chat window? Because once it goes and it's recorded, I can't get at it. Can you email?
Yeah, absolutely. Here, let me get a pen so I can write down or let me put it in my phone real quick. I'll write down your email and I'll send them to you. What is your email address?
It's DEMAMMA21 at Gmail.
I said, all right. Oh, DEMAMMA 21 at gmail.com.
Yep.
All right, perfect. Yep, I'll do that as soon as we get off then. All right. I still have a full-time job until I get my home business going. Should I file that with my husband or include it business? Lorette, yes, you can absolutely file it with your husband, but it's completely up to you. I recommend to go ahead and put in the deductions just because it could help. If you would like me to, I'd be happy to check for you and I can go in and see if it would help or not. A lot of the bigger companies will not do that. They'll just do I can go in and check for you to see if it would make more sense to claim or not. It really depends, honestly, on your income bracket, there's so many different things that it depends on. Yep, Brittany, yes, you can. Yep, because since convention is focused on our business, yep, you can claim the everything for a convention. So the ticket, the hotel stay, the flights, any if you do any transportation, if you do any excursions and you share those excursions as a on your social media, saying, trying to gain clients, which every vacation I go on, I take pictures and share, so yes, you can claim all of that. Yep. And any meals, 50% of meals too, because you're on a convention. It's a travel convention, so it's for business. So yep. Deborah said I work from home and pay water bill, but it is not under my name. Can that be a deduction or no? Deborah, is that so if you personally pay the water bill, yes, that can be a deduction. Yep. You're welcome, Loretta. Denise, I am new to being a travel agent. Welcome, Denise, and haven't had any bookings yet. But what all do you have to do to file for the business? What all deductions can you file? Can you send me the information covered in the Zoom? Denise, I actually have this recorded, so I will post it as well, but I'm gonna post a couple cheat sheets for you guys in the chat. And if that doesn't help, if you need help, you can always reach out to me as well. So I'll put my name, it's Sarah Harvey. And then you can find me on Facebook. Here's my number if you would like to text me, but I'm going to put my number. And then on Facebook, it's Sarah Craig. And then in parentheses, Sarah Harvey. What team are you on, Denise? Oh, of course, Anifka. Team Sunset. Okay. Mark Krebs is with you, right? You know who Mark Krebs is? Okay, yes, yes. So I'll send it to Mark Krebs and then have him post it in your guys' team chat so that way it can get to you. Or you can message me on Messenger as well. And you can ask Matt. You can ask Mark. We're really close. So you can ask him for my Facebook if you're not able to find me, and he'll give you my Facebook too. You can always reach out to me though. Yes, Deborah.
Hi, I had a question. So I've never been on a plane and I wanted to get that experience in before like gaining clients and stuff like that. I was thinking of doing a short one that's like less than 2 hours and booking a hotel to also use like the vouchers that I got
Uh-huh.
mailed. But I want to bring a friend so I don't have to like experience all that alone because she's been on a airplane before too. So how do I separate that like her so that way I can claim my part of like gaining the experience for the hotel and the flight?
Yes, yes. So you mean like once it comes to like the deduction part where
Yes, uh-huh.
claim. So anything that you spend, even if you can even do both of you combined together and then just split it down the middle and just say it was you and a friend. I've had agents do it that way. I've had agents do just only screenshot or send me documents showing that only what they paid. So however you would like to do it, or you can just claim the whole thing and just put it on there, or if I would just let your taxpayer know that it was you and a friend. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
It's really
Oh,
easy.
okay. Oh, okay, so they basically know what to do when it's like
Yeah,
that. Like I don't have to do it on my end, like with documenting what my expenses and all that.
you can document it on your end and then just put, even if, say, what I personally myself would do in that situation is I would just document my expenses. If you guys are paying together, just split that in half.
That
Yep.
simplifies it.
Yeah, it makes it a lot easier.
Thank you.
You're
So I
welcome.
can I
And
can do that for every trip I do that is for me mainly to gain experience
yes, to
since
gain
I haven't done
experience.
any of that.
I do recommend just taking photos because if by chance the IRS ever does come to you for and wanting proof or anything like that, it rarely happens, but it does happen. If by chance all they do is go and they'll look at your social media and see that you had photos from there, and every photo that I share when I'm on vacation, I say something about my business. So I'll say contact
Mhm.
Memorable Escapes if you're interested in going to whatever location it is. And
Oh,
that
okay.
right there, if your business name is in the post, it's a deduction.
And how do you show them that if they're asking? Do you just show them your page or do you have to like print out the post or something like
Oh
that?
no, they'll end up just like going into social media if because they know where to look for
Hmm.
to see if it's a legit. business. So
Mhm.
most travel agents are on social media for clients, so
Oh, okay.
that's where, yeah, they would look on there and see. With that part, they would just ask for proof of receipts. So,
Oh, okay.
or an expense tracker even.
Okay,
Great
thank
question. You found my Facebook? Let me follow. Lorette, for some reason it does that. If you go over on the right side, it's like three little dots, and you click on it, and you would have to go to add friend that way. I guess because after so many friend requests or whatever it is, they ended up making it to where you can only follow. But if you follow me, I'll check now and I'll add you though. If you're not able to figure out how to send me a friend request, I'm having a difficult time with that. But let me go ahead and post this in the chat for you, everybody. Okay, let's see. So this was the link. So this one was the cheat sheet. Just a little cheat sheet for you. Let me go back to the chat. All right, so here's this one. If you can just click on it to make sure it works. Sometimes I'll have to do it twice. This one was the income tracker. And then this one's the expense tracker. So I promise these really, really do come in handy when, especially it being in the beginning of the year now. So that way throughout the year, you guys can keep track of everything. It makes everything so much easier. I promise. Kelly, how much do I charge to prepare taxes? I personally, I work for I work through the IRS, so whatever. I would never. I know a lot of tax preparers will charge a whole lot extra for small businesses just because there's more into it, but I don't charge anything extra than what they charge. So usually with small businesses, if it's just like a W-2 and a 1099, it runs around 3.99, but that comes, I don't charge upfront, nothing like that. It'll come from your taxes. I know that it's hard to find tax preparers now that because they all want to charge up front, and I know that could be hard too. So, or I can even look over it and see what I can do for you, and if you can go from there, so you don't have to. It's up to you if you wanted to continue or not. But just reach out to me. I'd be happy to take a look for it for you. And then I do want to let you guys know too, with places like TurboTax and all, they just stopped this year with allowing you to self-file for free. Now they're charging. I heard that the costs are crazy now because for so many years it was free. Well, I hope this helped everyone. Does anyone else have any questions at all? Or you're welcome. All right.
So
Well,
your Facebook was Sarah Harvey, your memorable travels, right?
yeah. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
I got it. I sent you a friend request. I finally pulled in, so
You said I
I
had
heard that about taxes, so I might be hitting you up because
yeah, definitely. Anytime.
I didn't file for. I started in 2024, but I didn't make anything at all, so I didn't file nothing. So this year I did, but I only made 2,000.
Well, that's still good. You're growing.
I got a question though.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a 1099 at all. So I went and I know on our ADP I got something, but I also got paid something in January and February before the ADP started. Where do I find that at?
So you're talking about last January?
Yeah, in February before we
Y-
started the ADP when we
Yeah,
had the
that
cards.
should have been listed on it should have been transferred over is that it's not on your 1099 for that?
No, no, I don't see
Really?
it. Yeah, I didn't get a 1099. And when I print out that thing, it doesn't show as a 1099 on
And you made
ADP.
over 600 in commission, right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And then you went to your menu, you went to this
Yeah.
where it's supposed to be. I would definitely give Archer a call and let them know
Okay.
because you definitely should have a 1099.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll message you private on that.
yeah, message me and I'll help you with
Okay.
that.
Okay, thank you, hon.
You're welcome. Thank you
Have a
for
wonderful
stopping
day.
in. You too. Kaylee, I say the same thing, honestly, because I know I mean, I'm not trying to give myself like, any credit or anything, but I make sure you deduct everything you can, honestly. And as a travel agent, there's not a lot of tax preparers that are travel agents. So you are right about that though, because I make sure I itemize everything because it makes a huge, huge difference. You said, what can we do if we never kept receipts for like paper, etc. Now with that, with like if you didn't keep the receipts, if you have a bank statement or if it's anything like small things, like for instance, ink and anything like less than 500, they're not gonna really. It's anything like the larger expenses you want to make sure you have receipts for. But if you have like pens and any marketing things that isn't a ton of money, then you won't have to worry about it. But that's why it is good just to this coming year just to start keeping the expense tracker. As far as if you don't have receipts, don't worry too much about it. It's just like the larger amounts of money is the ones that they like to see proof of. But even if you have a list, if say you go through your bank statement and say, "Oh, I remember I purchased this or that," just make a list of all your different expenses. Hi, Robin. Thank you. I appreciate you guys too. So much. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope it helped. And again, reach out to me if you guys need anything at all. And I look forward to seeing you guys soon. All right, everyone, have a great day.